My name is Aaron Rosenzweig. I live on 1 Thorburn Road. You now have all the facts. In light of everything, I request a permit to own non-crowing roosters. How could I be expected to know that the ordinances handed to me on pink parchment by Lisa Holland were from 2010, when we were allowed to have roosters? I only began to connect the dots when Kathy D. sent me an email saying that roosters were banned. Perhaps Lynn can advise you. This falls under promissory estoppel. It's not that I was ignorant of the laws, it's that I was misled by city officials. It just goes to show that staff never refer to the city ordinances. They travel around with outdated versions in their vehicles and simply never read them. Seeing as how you believe we have 2 roosters, yet there is no issue with noise pollution, why don't you grant us this permit? You told us you would kill our birds if we did not erect a privacy fence. Even while we were in the middle of erecting this fence, you still came to harass us. When I say you, I mean city officials, not you personally. Our ordinances don't even require us to build a fence. I simply tried to meet you halfway. You angered many citizens when the Great Wall of Thorburn was erected, because they considered our birds to be community pets. You have upset an entire community for the whims of a few. I understand that when a phone call is placed, staff needs to respond. Problem is, they don't respond rationally. They don't play it by the book. They simply listen to the angry voices and do whatever they say, even if it is against the law. At some point, responsible staff should respond to the phone calls by standing and taking an hour or more of the caller's time, not mine. I never did anything wrong. My family has always been responsible. Section 4-102, Temporary Permits. The city manager may issue a temporary permit for the keeping, care, and protection of a prohibited animal where it is determined that such actions are necessary to the animal's welfare. I hope you grant us this permit.
Next speaker.
Formal announcements. I want to take a moment to share some personal thoughts in response to the ongoing testimony of Mr. Rosenzweig. These are just my personal thoughts. They don't represent those of the rest of the mayor and council necessarily, or staff. And unfortunately, Mr. Rosenzweig left before we were able to have mayor and council comments. But I just wanted to publicly state some thoughts and response after sitting through many weeks, months really, of testimony and comments during the public comment period from Mr. Rosenzweig regarding the city's rooster ban. Mr. Rosenzweig obviously has the right to express himself within the parameters of the First Amendment. That's why we have public comment periods here at City Hall, and he's entitled to continue doing that. But at the same time, we have a right to respond to those comments. I have sat here, like my colleagues, for months, quietly and politely listening to those comments from Mr. Rosenzweig and reading the many emails that he has sent to the city. If he had some personal encounters with the city's animal control staff that he felt were negative or inappropriate, that's unfortunate, but let's set the record straight. Those encounters happened some 6 or 7 months ago, and since then, there have been no visits from animal control to his home, as I understand it. No one has taken any of his chickens, regardless of their gender. The council responded to his concerns some weeks ago here from the dais with a deliberative and public discussion about our rooster ban, during which each member, one by one, stated that they were not inclined to pursue any changes to our law at this time, and each one of us explained our reasoning for that position. And the city manager has conducted an internal review of animal control personnel activities at Mr. Rosenzweig's request and responded to his email with those findings. I even personally spent a long time talking one-on-one with Mr. Rosenzweig to try to find some common ground in resolving his particular concerns. He indicated to me that he wanted to work with the city to pursue that compromise approach, but then he promptly torpedoed that effort and instead decided to up the rhetoric of his public comments. I understand he's trying to draw attention to an issue that he cares about by using provocative rhetoric. I also understand he's trying to teach his children a civics lesson in how local government works, which is commendable. But let me be clear. His comments during the week of Martin Luther King Day, comparing the city's Rooster Ban to slavery and segregation, were highly offensive. And his comments during the week of Holocaust Remembrance Day, comparing rooster bans to concentration camps and gas chambers, were incredibly offensive. So, if he wants to keep coming every week in perpetuity, that's his right under the First Amendment. But Mr. Rosenzweig does himself and his cause no favors by continuing to employ offensive and incendiary rhetoric, to take facts out of context, and to use other questionable tactics with his testimony.